Okay. Sorry, ready for the green light to go. Good afternoon. My name is Candace McAlevey, and I'm a senior health educator in the health education department at Kaiser. And like what was mentioned, the flyer said it was on depression, but we're going to really talk about the whole umbrella underneath that. So depression, anxiety, stress. To me, they all kind of, They all kind of go together, right? They're all kind of kissing cousins with each other. So we're going to talk about the whole gamut. First of all, I like to interact a lot, so I'm going to ask a lot of questions. And I have some bribery / incentives to hand out. So if you have to answer a question, you might get a little something, something. So to start off, first of all, what is stress? Just tell me, what is stress to you? Not what, the dictionary says, but what do you think stress is? Out loud.
Work.
What was that? Work? Work. What was else?
Deadlines.
Deadlines, okay. I heard someone else. Someone say someone's name.
I was saying pressure.
Pressure? Yes.
Pressure.
Yeah. Life in general? Absolutely. No. I like that answer. Yes, absolutely. Stress. So I mentioned in the first presentation that I gave here, I was lost. I went like around the corner. I didn't know the office building was on this side, so I was lost. I was calling Cindy, where do I go? So guess what? I was exactly, yeah. What do you think was going in my mind? I'm gonna be late. How is this gonna look? Oh my gosh, this is unprofessional. I'm representing Kaiser. I'm already screwing up. I'm late. Blah blah blah. All that's in my head, right? What do you think physically I was feeling?
Anxiety.
Anxiety, yeah.
Sweating.
What about sweating? Yeah, absolutely. Still kind of sweating now, so don't come close. Anyways, yeah, sweating. What else? Physically, what else do you think I was feeling?
Shaky heart rate goes up.
Heart rate, yep. Shaking, yep, absolutely. For me, I feel it right here. My neck gets really tight and tense, and I just feel it right here. So that's where all my stress goes, physically. Emotions. What do you think emotions, what emotions do you think I was feeling?
Irritation.
Irritation, yeah. Irritable. What was that?
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed, yeah. Maybe a little scared. Am I gonna get in trouble? What's my boss gonna say if it gets to him? Scared, yeah. Nervous. Yep. All that good stuff. And that was just right before here that I had to give a presentation on stress. Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking, how ironic, and this is funny, right? I'm going through stress as I'm going on my way to teach a stress management class / presentation, right? So with that said, the moral of that story is that stress is
Everyone.
exactly. Stress is every day, it's every minute, it's all around us, right? And not just negative stress. Is there positive stress?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? What's some examples of positive stress?
New job.
New job, yeah, absolutely. What can be stressful about that?
Learning a new system.
Learning new system, yep. The employer. Am I gonna do a good job? Are they gonna like me? Am I gonna fail? Am I gonna succeed?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Exactly. But it's positive because what?
New opportunity.
New opportunity. It could be more money, maybe. Usually that's a good reason why you get a new job, right? Or you move another level in your profession. Yep, absolutely. What's another positive stress?
Getting married.
Getting married, yes. I said that in the last one and everyone laughed at me. So getting married, yes.
Thank you.
So what's the stress about getting married?
Big commitment. Okay.
The money, the getting the venue, the this and the that, and all the plans and blah blah blah. But what is the positive side of getting married?
Security.
Security. You have a partner, right?
Sharing that.
Sharing, yeah, yeah. You guys are gonna wipe me out already. Yeah. So there's positive stress. I'll get you in a minute. So there's positive stress. So today we're going to talk about what stress is about. We kind of already touched about that already. We're going to talk about how our body reacts to stress because our body is built to respond to stress, whether we like it or not. So that's why it's just so important to understand that, to recognize it, and learn tools on how to manage it. Thank you. Oh gosh, we got a bunch of, I think everyone's gonna get one. I'll be like Oprah in a minute. You get a lanyard, you get a lanyard. So, I just talked about stress is all the way around, right? So the best way to to deal with stress is what?
Learn how to cope.
Learn how to cope, yeah. Embrace it. Because when we start pushing it away or stuffing it down, what does that do to us?
Causes tension.
Causes tension. We're not effective. Eventually we're gonna what? Hit a
Wall.
We're gonna hit a wall. Yeah. We get overloaded, just like a car. I know you folks probably heard this analogy a lot, but it's the truth. Just like a car. If we don't keep maintenance with our car is not gonna what? It's not gonna last. It's not gonna run. One day, like me a couple years ago, the engine's gonna blow up. Okay? Which happened and really sucked. Anyways, that's another story. So that's why it's so important to take care of our mind and our body because of that. Because our body, we need to kind of think of it as a car. So putting in the right fuel, eating, healthy, exercise, yep, getting sleep, and also our mental health. One thing that I like to tell people, and one thing I encourage you to keep in mind is that our mental health is just as important as our physical health. It actually should be a part of it. Does that make sense? Because it's a real mind-body connection. Because whatever's going on in here, you're going to feel it in here, and then also vice versa. If you're sick, what does that do to your mental health?
Brings it down.
Drags it down, yeah. You can have anxiety over it, or you can be more depressed because you can't do the things you used to do because of your illness. So that's why it's good to take care of both mind and body. I really encourage you to think of it as one. Does that make sense? All right. So again, we're going to practice some relaxation techniques, and then we're also going to go over when to consider seeking help, and then also Kaiser resources. So when to seek help, I just want to touch on it real bit. I mentioned it the last one. So when y'all were born, you were born with a manual on life, right? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, I wasn't. I wasn't given a book on this, right? So how do you go about finding out something? Someone said Google it. Okay, yeah, you can Google it. That's right. But how do you go about finding out something?
You do it.
What was that?
You do it.
You do it, yeah?
Pay attention to your body.
Pay attention to your body, yep. And you also, so if you don't know how to do something, you what?
Ask for help.
Ask for help, exactly. You ask for help. But some folks, find it hard, especially with mental needs, that it's hard to ask for help. Extra hard to ask for help.
They're also afraid of the stigma.
Afraid of the stigma, yeah. So what are some barriers on asking for help?
Embarrassed, ashamed.
Embarrassed, ashamed, yep. Yep.
Don't know who to ask.
Don't know who to ask. Don't know if you'll be accepted. Maybe you get turned down. What does someone know?
Let's say maybe you don't wanna inconvenience someone.
Uh-huh. Or that's what you think.
Right.
Yeah. I know, for me, a lot of my biggest barrier and my biggest preventer of me getting help and or being effective is my own, right? My head. My head gets away with me. If I ask for questions, I'm gonna inconvenience that person. If I ask for questions, my mind just, it's the unknown. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we're our own barrier, and we don't need to be, right? You're welcome. Sorry, I didn't mean to get you in your food. All right, so asking for help. So asking for help, it's not a sign of weakness. It's not a bad thing. You're not going to inconvenience anyone. So raise your hand if anyone asks you for help. Has anyone asked you for help? And what was your experience? I mean, you don't have to go in detail, but just how did you feel about it?
Well, I'm willing to help and listen,
Uh-huh.
but I can only do so much. They have to want to do
Yeah. Yeah,
and get through
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
You can give them guidance and help them go that direction, but if they're not going to take it, they're just gonna dwell and stay there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Were you glad that though someone asked you for help?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you feel inconvenienced at all?
No.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get at. our head, ourselves, we're thinking that I'm gonna inconvenience that person, but really that's not the case. People like to help, you know, they would rather you ask for help than for something else, you know, happen that's not as effective, right? So asking for help is awesome. It's not a, you know, sign of weakness or bad thing at all. So stress. So we kind of talked over this a little bit. So stress. So we talked about what is stress. There's financial stress, there's work stress, there's positive stress, there's family stress. Anyone have kiddos? I have two, yep. There's kiddo stress. There's stress with balancing work-life balance, right? Once you're here, you're doing stuff at work, and then you go home and you're mom and dad, or you're, you know, if you take care of your parents and you're caretakers. We wear multiple hats, and so trying to find a balance with all of that can be stressful as well. Okay, you ready for this? Okay, what's your first thought about this? Out loud.
Anger.
Okay, yeah. Now what if this was right here live? Then what?
We're outdoors.
We're outdoor, exactly.
Last one did it.
Okay, so the thoughts we have, like for me, mine would be, oh, shiitake mushrooms, yes? Now what about physically? What did you feel physically when this first popped up?
Fear.
Physically, physical.
Anxiety.
You can feel anxiety, but physically, did you feel it? Did you kind of jump? Were you kind of tense? Did you tighten up a little bit? No? You were relaxed? So seeing this every day, you're cool, just like at the beach?
On a picture, yeah.
On a picture, yes. I like how you said that. On a picture, yes.
If you
If you were
sitting right there,
here,
no.
yes. So if this lion, tiger, oh my thing is right here, what would we do? Right here. What would we do? Cry. Yes, cry. No,
You'd
yeah.
either bolt or freeze.
And what is that called?
Fight or flight.
What is that?
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight, yes. The fight or flight system. So remember I talked about how our body is naturally built to respond to stress? So that's why don't even try to suppress it. We need to embrace it because our body is built to react to it. So it's the fight or flight system, yes. So if we saw this thing live in person, our body, without even thinking, is going to tell us either to fight this thing. Are we going to fight this thing? I don't think so.
You're not gonna get too far.
Exactly. Or we're gonna run. Now someone said, I think you said, the other thing, what did you say started with the F? Or,
Fight or flight.
no?
Or
Freeze.
freeze, yeah.
Freeze. So a lot of folks don't know about that. There's actually a third component to the fight or flight system. There's freeze. So fight, flight, or freeze. I don't know if you've heard, like, some people talk about maybe if they were in a situation where they were, you know, robbed or something, and they said, all I could do was just stay there. I couldn't move. I just froze. That's because that was your body kicking into your fight or flight system. So again, our body reacts to stress, whether it's good, bad, toxic, without us even thinking about it. So that's why it's so important for us to just be mindful of that and take it all in and how we feel and how there's difference. There's thoughts, there's feelings, there's physical symptoms, and then there's our actions, what we do about it. And what we do about it, that comes in with our tools, if we need to use some of our tools. Now, say we ran away from this lion, tiger, whatever, what would we do afterwards? Yeah.
Celebrate.
Woo! Celebrate, yeah.
You'd be drained.
You'd be drained, yeah. So if you're drained, how do you refuel yourself?
Sleep, rest.
Yeah, sleep, rest,
Food.
absolutely, yeah. Food, but what else?
Cry.
Cry, yeah. Drink, you could.
Shower, bath.
I wouldn't suggest it, I mean, yeah, in moderation. But what about talking to someone about it? Would you talk about it? Would you call up your support person and be like, oh my gosh, what happened to me today? Yeah, you would talk about it, right? And is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you had this happen to you and you couldn't stop thinking about it? And it's keeping you up at night?
That's
Seek professional help.
That's post-med. This girl knows her stuff right here. Yeah, so then what would you do if you couldn't get this off your mind?
Hopefully.
you would seek help, hopefully,
Use
yeah,
a different coping mechanism.
or use it. Okay, you come up here. She knows what's up, and if anyone needs help or, you know, go to her, she'll help you out. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. But yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say, folks, is that sometimes, you know, we have situations, either past or present, that will do that to us, that we can't stop thinking about it. And that's another sign of when we need to, you know, ask for help, when it's okay for help. But we'll get to that in a minute. So today's stressors, we've already talked about that. So I want to talk about, remember how I mentioned about the mind-body connection? So that's a legit thing. And this is a cycle of how, you know, most things happen. So this little lightning bolt thing, that represents an event. So let's say the lion. We saw a picture of a lion, right? And I'm going to talk about myself personally. So I saw a picture about the lion. I thought, oh, Dr. Mushroom. Then feeling, I felt scared, I felt nervous, I felt anxious, I was worried. Those are my feelings. That's what I feel. My behavior, well, if it was here, I would be running. And afterwards, I'll probably talk to someone about it. And then physical symptoms, when I saw the picture, I kind of tensed up, I kind of jumped a little bit, and I felt it right in my neck. Like I told you folks before, all my stress sits right here with me, personally, right in my neck. So this is a whole cycle of what you're feeling when stress happens. And again, this could be stress that's good, not so good, and then there's toxic stress. In between here is when you want to intervene with some tools on how to, you know, control some of that stress. And one way of doing that, well, first of all, let's see. My gal right there. What do you do to handle your stress? Or actually, let me read. Oh wait, let me see. Doesn't she look relaxed? I would like to be right there right now. That'd be cool. So, with that said, relax. How do you relax?
I get away from my kids.
Get away from your kids. That's relaxing. Yeah. Now, someone's watching your kids, like you just say your peace out, or like you can make sure a babysitter's there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good. And what do you do when you get when you're away from your kids? Do you go do something for you?
See a movie.
Good. You go by yourself to the movies?
No, I'm engaged.
Oh, well there you go. That's
I
okay.
myself.
But you go with no kiddos though?
Oh yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Good. I'm glad that you do that. What's some other things that you do just for you?
I don't know, relax.
Just relax?
I like to do good. I really, the only way I can get relaxed is if I'm out of the house.
Out of the house?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a crazy house.
Good. All right. But that's good that you know that you know what you need to do to get relaxed. And that one thing is to get out of the house. That's good.
Yeah.
My friend in the white turtleneck, what do you do to relax?
I really like to work out.
Work out? Okay.
So that's kind of relaxing for me.
Yeah, so working out is a great way to relax, and also it's a way to maintain your mental health, because exercise releases endorphins, all your good chemicals that helps balance things out. So really working out is good in the moment, and also to just keep up maintenance for mental health and for your physical health. Get someone over here. In the blue polo, what do you do to relax? That's you, yep.
Play computer games?
Play computer games? Okay. Cool. How long do you normally do that?
One of my brothers playing.
There you go.
2 hours.
Computer games, alright.
Shopping.
Shopping, yes. So shopping can be relaxing. Just want to throw out there though, that some things that we can use that are relaxing, you just want to be mindful of it, that doesn't cross that barrier of where you can't control it no more. Which, you know, shopping. If you have a shopping issue, maybe not want to do shopping as a relaxing thing.
Eating.
You know, eating, you can either eat too much or too less, yes. That could be relaxing, but those things, you know, can kind of cross over. So you just want to watch it. You know, same with consuming alcohol, things like that. Again, they can be relaxing. However, you want to watch it that doesn't cross over to where it's affecting your life in a negative way, when it's unmanageable. Does that make sense? So relaxing. How many of you just breathe? Well, I hope we all raise a hand, right? We're all breathing. I know that's gonna sound really silly that I say, oh, breathing, duh, we are breathing, I'm breathing right now. But I mean, actually, like, just stop and really breathe. Do you do that?
Yeah, it's
What do
deep,
you?
deep breathing,
Yeah.
just soak it in and 3-4 deep breath, so kind of make it all easy.
Yeah, and how do you feel afterwards, after you do that?
You feel like whatever the tense muscles are, those are feeling better, and you almost feel relief from whatever was. I get generally anxiety with the stress, but you can see that fading away. Right?
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad that you do that. Do you ever tense up the muscles that are already tense and then release them?
Breathing generally takes care for me.
Okay, well that's good. Another technique I'd encourage you just to use, if you have any tense muscles, if you tense it up and release it, I know it's gonna sound weird, but if the muscles that are tense them up and release them, you can feel the difference of the tension and then the relaxation state, and that helps too to kind of calm things down a little bit also. But breathing is one of the number one thing you can do, folks, to relax and to kind of handle your stress. There you go. Thank you for sharing that. You don't need any equipment. You don't need any bells and whistles. All you need is your lungs, which we have them all the time, right? However, there is a good way to breathe. A lot of folks, they don't really take a big inhale breath or use their stomach to breathe. They usually breathe from up here, right? And so when I breathe from up here, just observe what I'm doing. What do you notice?
Short breath.
Short breath. And you're gonna what?
Hyperventilate.
Hyperventilate, yeah, exactly.
Tenses the muscles more.
Gal, oh my gosh, she's gonna come up here and do this. Yes, so she said tense up the muscles, and that's right. So when you're breathing from right here and that short breath, the hypoventilating state, I guess you can call it, you're actually increasing your blood pressure, your heart rate, and that increases your what? Starts with an A.
Anxiety.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, because when your heart rate and your blood pressure goes up, your anxiety goes up. Those goes hand in hand. So what I'm going to have you folks do is I'm going to have you folks, first I'm going to show you the ready position. You're going to sit up in your chairs, put your both feet on the floor, shoulder width apart. It's nap time. Y'all bring your mats. Hey, I wish we brought back nap time. That'd be amazing. So you're gonna put your palms facing up, facing the ceiling, on your thighs, and this is ready position. So remember this. We're gonna get back into this position in a minute, but right now I'm gonna teach you how to breathe. So just stay in ready position. We're not gonna do nothing yet. When I tell you, I'm gonna have you put your hands on your stomach. And you're going to, when you inhale, you're going to inhale and extend your stomach. So you want to imagine that you're filling up a balloon, okay? Make your balloon big. So don't do it yet. So I'm going to make an inhale. I'm going to hold it for about 3 seconds, and then breathe out. Now I was asked if there's like a magic number. Normally you breathe in like for 6, hold it for 3, and then out for 6. For me, keeping count got me, like, I can't keep count, I can't focus.
You got anxiety from that.
Exactly. So the moral of my story, if that doesn't count for you, if you're able just to breathe in slowly and you're getting a full breath, then do whatever works for you. Does that make sense? Do what works for you. Because I got so stuck on, I have to do it how they told me. They said I have to do it by 6, because that's how I am. You tell me to do something and I do it. Well, I was so focused on that, I was getting stressed out. And then I gave up breathing. So in the last year, I finally got it, and I'm like, oh, it's not so hard. But moral of my story is do what works for you. If what I'm telling you doesn't work, but you tweaked it and that works, or someone else, you know, you found out on Oprah that something works, then do it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So now go ahead and put your hands on your stomach. And we're going to breathe in for 6, not yet. Breathe in for 6. Remember, you're going to fill up that balloon. Inhale, make that tummy big. And it's going to feel a little awkward. And then we're going to hold it for 3, and then out for 6. Okay, ready? And breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. Is this doable for everyone? Yeah? Now, for everyone, on kp.org and also on YouTube, Kaiser has great videos and information on this, on breathing, on stress management, on healthy eating, on exercise. Pretty much every health topic you can think of, it's on there. But especially for breathing and for mindfulness, which I'll talk about a little more in a minute, go on YouTube. Kaiser, if you put Kaiser breathing, you'll find it. Kaiser mindfulness, you'll find it. They have really short, very informational videos that will walk you through this more in depth than what I'm doing right now. Does that make sense? And anyone can access those. Anyone. You don't have to be a Kaiser member. If you are, who's my Kaiser folks? Kaiser folks? Alright, cool. Kaiser folks, we have tons of classes, especially in my department, health education. We have classes on stress management, which I teach on Fridays. We have classes on depression, anxiety, sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping, we can help you out. Healthy eating, we've got that too. Pretty much anything that you can think of, we have it, and or we can point you in the right direction. My Kaiser folks, how many of you are aware of our mental health department? Yeah? Awesome. So we have a fabulous mental health department. I use it too. That's half the reason why I'm able to do this to you folks, because I've been in a lot of therapy. And I don't mind sharing that. It's a good thing. But it helps me in my career, and it helps me, help others, which I love to do. So our mental health department, they have tons of classes and therapists that are great, and that's self-referral. You don't need a referral for that. You just call them up, mental health department, you tell them what your needs are, and they go from there, okay? So mental health is always a resource for you folks, for Kaiser. And my non-Kaiser folks, I'm sure there's resources for you too, for mental health and for other, education classes, purposes. So we're gonna do a lot of activity. Don't fall asleep. Well, if you fall asleep, that's all right. I won't tell no one. We'll go back to that in a minute. So what I want you to do is we are going to get in the ready position, or awake position. Ready, awake. And I just want you to either just focus, you can have your eyes open or closed, it's up to you. And you're going to focus either on the picture or on the song I'm about to play. And I just want you to focus, be in the moment. Try to not think about what's going to be for dinner. Try not to what you have to do after this class. Try not to think about, what your kids need after work. I want you to focus right here, right now, because this is all we got. 5 minutes ago it's gone. 5 minutes ahead, not even here, so don't trip. We're going to focus on right now. So I want you to be mindful of any thoughts, feelings, physical feelings. And again, just breathe, and you're going to focus on the song and or the picture. Have your eyes open or closed. And that's not what I wanted. Hold on. Welcome back, me. So how many of you thought that that was long? No? Good, that was only 3 minutes. Last folks, some said that that was long. Some people don't know, time, when you say 5 minutes, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. Or when you're in it, it seems like a lot, but that was only 3 minutes. Sounds a little over 3 minutes long. Anyone know who sings it?
Led Zeppelin?
Good job, yeah. So that song, I like that song because when I was in college, my undergrad was kinesiology, and I had a teacher who had us do just mindfulness, and he had us do just what I had you do. And this is a song he played. And at first, when he had us do it, I thought he was crazy. I'm like, what is this? I don't, what? And then now, fast forward later, I'm teaching folks how to do this. So there you go. Just to show you that these simple things have been around for a long time. So if music's your thing, if music can relax you, then do that. Find music that's relaxing. I mean, I don't know if I'd be pumping corn or like, ska music or, 9 Inch Nails or something, to relax you, maybe to work out, but, if you can relax that, then that's okay too. But if music's your thing, then go ahead and do that. I mean, would it be hard to put in some earbuds real quick and just zone out for a little bit to some music? No? Not that hard.
I saw a few people moving their heads like corn would relax them.
Well, yeah. Hey,
Some
if
people
that,
have that.
yes, if that is your jam, like I said before, no matter, I just know with that comes to me, I feel like jacked up, so that's why I said that. But whatever works for you, if that works for you, then that works for, that works for you too. So, if 9 Inch Nails is your jam, then go ahead. What is some other relaxing, or actually, let's go to healthy habits. So, that was a relaxation technique we can do, is proper breathing. Breathing meaning filling up our balloons, not from the chest. Also taking a time out, just kind of zone out and meditate, being mindful of what's going on around us. But what's some healthy habits that can help with stress management? Walking, so exercise, yeah. What else? Massage, yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah. What else? What about what she's doing right here?
Eating fruit.
Healthy eating, yep. Eating fruits and vegetables, yep. So one thing that, thank you for saying that. One thing that contributes to stress is vulnerability. Does anyone know what that means? Vulnerability. No? Want to try? Vulnerability is meaning we're already set up to have stress affect us. Does that make sense? We're already setting ourselves up for anxiety and for depression, meaning how many of you get 8 hours sleep in a day? Yeah? Not that many hands. So lack of sleep. So what happens when you don't sleep a lot?
You can't reset.
Grumpy.
You're grumpy, you're irritable, you're not productive, so then you're grumpy and irritable to your coworkers, and you have a bad day at work. Then what happens at home? You bring it. Exactly. So is that stressful? Yeah. What about if you're hungry? What's the term?
Hangry.
Hangry. Yeah. So if you're hungry, there you go. That can set you up for stress or for anxiety. Your mental health, your mental state to be affected. What about if you are taking your medication, that you need to take or regularly? That can affect your mental state too. Absolutely. Or keeping up on your health, like if you're diabetic, if you're not keeping up on that, well, you need to, blood sugars, insulin on time, all that good stuff. Can that affect your wellness? Yeah. So those are vulnerabilities. Those are things that are already happening that can set yourself up for anxiety, depression, or stress. Does that make sense? Yeah? So another thing is that we want to do maintenance. We've all heard the analogy that we're a car, right? So I think I mentioned already. So what happens if you don't change your oil? What could happen? Engine blows up? Exactly. What happens if you don't, just check your brake pads and your, maintenance? What happens if you don't maintain your car? It falls apart. Right. It doesn't last that long. Costs you money. You keep on dumping $1,000 every month. That's stressful too, right? So we need to think of ourselves as a car. That's exactly what we are. We need to do maintenance, we need to have our oil change, we need to, so going to your physicals, getting your teeth done, and then also with your mental health too, checking in with that. And these things right here, healthy habits, that's part of the maintenance process. So eating balanced meals, exercising regularly, talking to someone regularly, having a support system. What is a support system? What makes a support system?
Trust.
Trust, yeah. So someone you trust. Can be a family member, can be a friend. Who are you sitting next to? Can be a coworker, yep. Church, maybe a minister, counselor for sure. It's really important to have a support system so you can go back and ask questions and get support, exactly. Another thing we can do to help manage stress is do a stress list. So if you have a piece of paper, you can use it now if you like. If not, you can take a mental note or take a picture if you have your phone. So it's really good to just put it out on paper. Because a lot of times we stress over things we don't need to stress about, right? I do that all the time. So you can make 4 boxes, you can do categories: home, work, finances, and health, because that's a normal cause, stresses, right? Normal stress. And then list down those stresses. So home, maybe some appliance needs maintenance on or needs to be repaired. A fence is broken. Rent's due. Work, I have a deadline that's coming up. I don't know, whatever's going on at work. And health and finances and so on. List all your stressors that's going on right now in those categories, and then you're going to put a letter next to it. You're going to put F for fix it, so if it needs fixing right now. L, leave it alone, that meaning you don't need to do nothing about it now, so table it for later. And then A, accept it. Accept it as is. What does acceptance mean? What does accept mean? I already cheated and gave you the answer, but what does acceptance mean to you?
Dealing with that stress.
Dealing with stress? Or that, but also, sometimes we can't do nothing about it, right? Just accepting it, yep, it is what it is, right?
What's the difference between that and leave it?
That and leave it, well, leave it is meaning leave it. It doesn't mean need to be, dealt with right now. Accepting it would be, I can't leave it, I can't fix it.
Take it on the chin.
What was that?
Just take it on the chin.
Take it on the chin, yeah. It can be taken on the chin, but what happens is when you just take it on the chin or just take it, you're just coasting through life. Accepting it meaning you're taking it in, you're accepting it, you're not just like, alright, move on. If though you accept it, you're like, alright, I can't change it, I can't, I have no power over X, Y, and Z, I have power of me and now, moving on. That's acceptance, and not being stuck on it. Not thinking about that lion 24/7. Does that make sense? Acceptance would be, the lion's gone, that situation's gone, I'm safe, and I'm okay. Let's go on. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. And again, acceptance looks different for everybody too, but that's kind of like the core of it, right? So yeah. So acceptance is a good thing, especially when you're wanting to get help. The first step of getting help is accepting, the situation as is, and accepting, that you need help, that there is a problem. Acceptance is the first one, and then getting help is the second, or acceptance first step, getting help is the second, and then putting action is the third. Putting that into action. Alright, so some other techniques you can use is that you can do yoga, massage, that was mentioned, stretching, Also, just taking a time out. Just like what we did, 3 minutes to breathe, and just focus on the moment, not focus on the past, and not focus on what's to come, like I call future tripping, just being right now in the moment. That's very helpful in managing stress. So when to consider seeking help? So when you want to consider seeking help, it's basically when your normal habits are changing. Appetite, if your appetite changes, if you eat too much or too little. A lot of times depressed folks, they don't eat at all. They stop eating. Or they overeat. They can go either way. A lot of it's extreme. If it's not, you know, your normal, you're doing one thing or another, that's a red flag. Sleep, you're sleeping too much or too little. Sometimes you're anxious, you can't sleep at all. I know that's the case with me. If I'm really anxious, I have a hard time sleeping and staying asleep. Little interest in doing things that you normally have pleasure in doing, like playing the video games, playing with your kids, doing some sport. If you lose interest and stop doing those things, then that could be a sign too. Also, difficulty concentrating. You're a little more moody, edgy, irritable than normal. And also, if you have any relationship difficulties. If any of these symptoms last more than 2 weeks, then that's definitely a sign of when you should start seeking help. And feeling sad, blue, cheerful, hopelessness, and down. So seeking help, EAP, you folks have an EAP program here? Yeah, that's definitely a resource to seek help, to get resources and point in the right direction to get help. A non-judgmental family member, we talked about that. Clergy, so your church, if you have a church. And then also your doctor and any mental health professional. And then also this is a number too that you can call, the 1-800 number for resources for some safe resources and ideas as well. But if anyone is a threat to themselves or others, what number would you call? What was that? 911, exactly. And or go to your nearest emergency room. At that point, they'll assess the person and then they'll point them in the right direction in the resources and care that they need. So I already mentioned our online, so kp.org is for any research for Kaiser folks and non-Kaiser folks. You can go on there and any health topic you want to know more information about, you can get it on there. Also YouTube, again, they have great videos, so I encourage you to look at that as well. And then also for my Kaiser folks, who is aware of this? Anyone aware of this? Wellness coach? Yeah? Have you ever used wellness coaches before?
I hadn't, so
No?
that's aware of it, yeah.
Okay. So wellness coaches is that they are health educators and clinical health educators that work at call center. So similar if you were calling to make an appointment or the advice line, it's kind of the same thing. You'd be working with someone over the phone with the Wellness Coach Center. And they work with you for nutrition, exercise, quitting smoking. Also health ed, we help folks quit smoking. So if that's something that you're interested in, we can help you with that too. They take appointments up until 7 o'clock at night and also on Saturdays. For health education, we don't. So that's one plus. And also it's over the phone. So they'll create a plan with you, and then they'll hold you accountable, and they'll call and check in on you, whatever, your plan and the situation and topics are. So that's a really good resource. You don't have to go in the office, so that's another plus as well. And in health education, that's where I'm from. We have tons of classes, and if we don't have what you're looking for, we point you in the right direction. We're kind of like the mother lode of all information, so come to us and we'll definitely help you out. We have a location in Fresno, Clovis, and Selma. And wrapping up, so we talked about what stress is. We talked about how to manage stress through deep breathing, through being mindful, through just taking a time out, through some maintenance stuff like getting physical, eating balanced meals, exercising. We talked about support system. We talked about how to strategize, write out your stresses and see what you can fix and what you can leave and what can you just accept. Any questions? Did you want to add anything?
I do.
Okay.
And you guys, Candace will handle the questions for, mind, body, spirit, Kaiser stuff. But I wanted to remind all my, Kaiser folks, well, Kaiser and non-Kaiser, remember to check out YouTube. So we've got plenty of videos that are available to you there. You do not have to be a member either to visit kp.org and or our social media. Okay, so Kaiser puts quite a bit of time and effort into those, and those can be viewed by anybody. And the second thing for those Kaiser members, how many of you know that in a life-threatening situation, you can visit any hospital? Right? Mm-hmm. So if you're in Sanger, nearest hospital is probably Clovis community, right? Selma, if you're out in Selma, find your nearest hospital there. In a life-threatening situation, we do not want you looking for a Kaiser Permanente, please go to the nearest hospital. But if it is an urgent care situation, remember you can connect with a nurse, schedule an online doctor's appointment, or connect with them also via email. Your prescriptions, and I got a little message from CVS. I'm a Kaiser member. I was sick this last Saturday, and I was treated by a nurse over the phone. Nice. She said, if you don't hear from me, we'll get your prescription will be sent to the pharmacy. I said, I'm in Clovis country, near Sanger. Can you call it into CVS at Ashland and Fowler? She said, no problem, I just need the phone number and the address. So they called it in, and I got an alert from CVS that it was ready. Okay? So, same thing if you're out of town, okay? I don't do it all the time, I do it for those days that I just don't feel good, and I'll tell you why. There was a slight difference in copay, it's almost $10. I was okay with that because I didn't travel into the Fresno pharmacy, but I want you to be mindful that that is available to you, okay? All right, thanks guys, I appreciate all your participation.